So now I need to put this information and do something about it. I know that I have hinge side and I have opening side. So let me start by adding this as some kind of code block where I can add the values from. You just double click on the canvas and then you will have a code block, and then you can start typing in those informations you want. I know I have hinge side, and this is a string value. I put this string inside a quotation mark because this is a code block, and a code block means that if you add strings you need to show that this is a string, and you do that by quotation marks. If I added a string instead, string, then I would know in advance that this is a string value, and then I could just type in hinge side. This one now is the same as this one. So either you could use this, but a string is only a combined thing, so you could not add a second value here, because if I added something extra here, it would still be considered as the same string. And I would like to put in 4 more information. So is it right sided, the hinging, or is it left siding, like this? Remember to end each line with a semicolon, like this one. This is the way a coding block works when a line finish. So this is my first code block, and I would just remove this one. And I also needed a code block here for the face flipping. So this one goes for opening side. And be aware that this is case sensitive. It needs to be written in the same way as the parameter inside Revit exists. Otherwise it would fail. So opening side like this or opening side like this is 2 very, very different things. This one is the correct one because I have named inside here. I named them. If I hover this, you can see it is made with capital letters, the parameter name. So you need to be aware that this is case sensitive. This one will fail. I delete it. Okay, next. I will put a value inside which goes for inwards or outwards, like this. So now I have those values here. Okay, where do I need to put the values? Well, I need to write them back to a parameter. So I will go again, and I could just type here. I know in advance that this is a set thing I want to do. Either I want to get something or set something. This is the one or those who make the node which decides what the parameter is called. And therefore it takes some time to figure out the logic inside Revit and inside Dynamo, how this works. But try to search or try to move around inside here and go see how these things works. And I think it is under some kind of element, and it is some kind of element inside elements. And then you will have a getter, as I can see it here, and I have a setter here. And it is actually this one I would like to find. So if I had typed set parameter by some kind of name, I know I have a name up here, then I would find this one eventually. Okay, so the hinge side here is the parameter name. And the value then, well, either I want to set the value to right or to left. This is why this is split up into 2 lists. So now I have the one of them, and I can copy that and then take the value here. So either the value is a left value or it's a right value. Okay, then how did the one who made the door, how did they make that? Well, you really need to open a door as a family and see from the first family how this is built if you want to know how it works. So I could take this door here and just edit the family, and inside this family now I can see, if I go down to the floor plan of this one, I can see that from the default value would be that if it is false, meaning that it is not being flipped, that would be an outgoing or the outer side, and that the left side from the outside would then be this hinging side. How the doors are built, I really can't say that in advance. You need to see how those who made the elements for you, how they build it. So this is really something where I can't say how it is going to work when you find doors, wherever you find doors. So that's also why it's only saying true and false here. It cannot tell you if it is right or left. This is something about the doors. So in this case here, I can take the true values to be if somebody has pressed the flipped, meaning true, then it would be the right one in this case, because the false, meaning it was not pressed, would be then the left value here. And so on. I will just add another one here for set parameter, because now it will be the opening side. And would it then go in, or would it go outside? So the true value in this case with those doors here, meaning that somebody has flipped it, would be in, and the false value would then be out. Now I should save this. Now I can run it. This means that I will now have to do something, because I cannot see this underneath. Make some kind of adjustment here on my screen so I can show it how it works when it is running. So inside now I can say that the graph is available and run. So this means that this one should be left side hinge. It is. This one is from the right side. I'm standing on this side of the door and looking at it, always on the outer side of the door. This one then says, okay, I'm now standing on the outer side here of the wall, on the outer side of the element, and we knew, and this one tells that, okay, this one is then right hinged, but goes inside. So you're standing on the inside of the door, and you can see then this is hinged in the right side, but it is put into the wall and goes in compared to the wall direction, because this is the flipping direction. This one was forced to be inside, hinged right, hinged left, and so forth and so on. Now I could continue putting this to automatic, because then I would be able to just, while I'm going around and flipping them, then they will move around and do exactly as I would suppose they were going to do. And you can see here that when you actually take something and move it from out to in, then it also changed the direction, because while it was left-sided here, outgoing, then it would go inside this one, but became right-sided. So flipping on a face flip would mean that it also changed the hinging side. Just flipping on the hinge side would then go left and or right when you do it. So back to our graph here, and I will now go back to the full size again. You can see that this one is actually failing, and it is failing this one because some of them doesn't have this opening side. It is not an error in this case, because I know in advance my inner doors, my 4 inner doors, simply doesn't have the opening side attached to them. And apparently at the moment they are all not touched going in or out. But well, let's try to go back and see if we can force somebody of them to do something like this. So if I go for this one, then well, now I have the arrow present inside here, because now I had one door changing, and you can see here that it goes on here and moving stuff around. So now there's 9 apparently on the one side, and a 3 and 9, and Among these, there will be 4 of those inner doors which will then now fail, and you can see this, that no parameter found by that name. Yes, it is an error, but in this case, not really an error. So now I have made a graph which can show me if the doors are either hinged right or left, or face flipped out or in. And by this I now have an opportunity to make scheduling for doors.